us once again make clear that which most do not seem to understand. This podcast is marked as explicit not because it offers a mature look into the world of topics not meant for the young or immature, but because it mucks about in very appalling, gormless, and tasteless filth whilst reveling in it. Cinema Psyops aims to drag you down into the very same muck, filled with sexual deviancy and decayed morality. Cinema Psyops. They heap weekly praise on such filth while discussing the most base and animalistic urges, reviewing the lowest common denominator of low-grade trash ever considered film. When you look at the state of the world around you and you realize how little time you have left to be happy, do you really want to waste that time you have left listening to Cinema Psyops? They were variously characterized by responsible people as young punks, common hoodlums, and drunken kids. The dignity and respect of our citizens, old as well as young, high as well as low. His mother says he was a normal, happy boy until he became obsessed with Cinema Psyops.
You become almost absorbed in it. It is a driving force. You have to have it. I hate it so much that I want to see if it's done to the camera and personal level. And I want to see it banned. I want to see it off the face of the earth.
Yeah, it's amazing, but I think parents have to really pay more attention to what these kids are listening to.
Cancer in children? What's that about? How dare you? How dare you create a world in which there is such a division of our people? It's not right. It's utterly evil. Why should I respect the capriciously minded, stupid God who creates a world which is so full of injustice and pain? Because the God who created this universe, if he was created by God, is quite clearly a maniac. Utter maniac. Totally selfish. Make them blind. Why did you do that to us? Oh, how could God do that? A maniac. We could easily have made a creation which that doesn't exist. It is simply not acceptable. Cinema Psyops.
I want to see it banned. I want to see it off the face of the earth.
And welcome to the 387th consecutive week of Cinema Psyops. I'm your host, Court, the guy who just cannot believe they are rounding the corner on 400 total weeks of their lives that they have wasted here. And also befuddled by just how much time we have spent doing this show all the way across the city of Omaha in his underground studio bunker is my co-host, Matt.
Personally, I didn't think I'd live this long.
You thought I'd have to replace you with a more congenial co-host with a better heart?
I just thought I'd die. I thought I would be dead. So that's why I always said the good times were going to last forever. I never knew I was going to live this long.
Oh, Jesus, that's almost a fucking Journey song.
Anyway, how's it going?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
I was going to try to do a Steve Perry impression, but even then I was like, nah, I better lay off the journey.
Yeah, if you're going to do a Steve Perry impression, you should just stop believing and not try to sing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you don't have the vocal. You just don't have the vocal range to do it. You just don't.
If you keep egging me on, though, I'm going to do it.
You tried to do it, and then I was begging you to stop right there for just that moment.
I know. So we should need to stop talking about it, because the more we talk about it, the more I want to do it.
Yeah, that's fucking fair. And that's not the worst thing that would happen to Journey, considering their keyboard player is a trumper. So there you go.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is the most terrible thing.
Well, Steve Perry's long since left Journey. He's doing his own thing now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's out of there. Good for Steve Perry.
Yeah, get away from the
it's not even Journey anymore without Steve Perry. I mean, how can they even call themselves fucking Journey?
Well, they can still perform the songs, and the guy that they got doing the front man work now is quite the vocalist, so I'm not going to bag on him at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's just the keyboardist is a fucking asshole.
Yeah, as far as I could tell, he's a trumper who got the band ripped off by the trumpers that he surrounded himself with. So,
Well, of course. He got grifted. Yeah. Way to go, dipshit.
Look, we talked about it a bunch on this show. This is how it works. Yeah. You fuck around, you will find out.
Yeah. You get hey, look, it's the consequences of my own actions.
Who would have thought that was going to happen to any of us, right?
Right? Oh, God.
All right, so we're still doing our deep dive box sets this week. That's the shit that people really want to hear about, not us waxing on about how we feel about things politically speaking.
Yeah, right? They want to hear. I don't know if they're going to want to hear about this movie, though. Jesus.
Well, this is actually the very first film that our boy Jose Ramon Larraz has ever filmed. This is his absolute first, and this is actually a pretty solid first film, even though I'm going to have some problems with it too. Absolutely, Matt.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and it's, I guess it's not the problems of, because it's all about the story that he's telling. So the story told is actually pretty good. It's just disturbing subject matter to have to go through.
That's true. That's
not
true.
That I don't. I mean, I guess I'm kind of
Well, the story is also
get too in front of myself.
The
but
story is also a mess in how it is delivered, and I think anybody would probably agree with you on that because it does jump around a little bit and take.
But I thought he actually did pretty well for a first film.
Oh yeah, considering that it is a first film, absolutely. Now, when I watched this, a lot of my problems with it and a lot of the complaints that I may have about it was me not realizing that this was one of Larraz's first films. And actually his actual first film, the first film that he ever shot. Dude was 40 years old whenever he first started making movies. I have no idea what he did before that, but at 40 years old, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to make sleazy movies. And the more I learn about this guy, the more I'm starting to think, hey, maybe this is a job for Court Psyops. Maybe I should just start making sleazy sex movies in my 40s.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, it just goes to show your future's never really, decided. You can always change.
Yeah, you will be shocked at what you will be remembered for. In Larraz's case, he's going to be remembered for a lot of these really violent sex and gore and violent films that he's made. And he's awesome.
He really wanted to do some commentary on sadism, that's for sure.
We can get into that as well. We've done some of his other films. Black Candles, that was the one where we watched a goat fuck a lady.
Oh, yeah, the goat fucked a lady. Yeah. God almighty.
Yeah, and then we also did Symptoms, which had Donald Pleasant's daughter in it, and that was an excellent film. I think what he was trying to do in Whirlpool, he accomplished in Symptoms rather well.
Yes, I think so. And yeah, well, I mean, we'll get into it here. Yeah. I suppose it's kind of weird to just start talking about it in the intro.
Oh, not necessarily, because this is actually introing the entirety of the box set, so we have to talk about the man's career just a little bit. And
that's true.
If we're going to do it, we might as well say the one we're covering is his very first film that he's ever shot. That's all I want to mention.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm for
it. And besides, I got no other life stories to talk about. My toilet tank that was cracked is all replaced with a brand new one, so that drama's out of my life. I'm happy for that. Work's still going great. I love all of my coworkers, even though I may not be a huge fan of my stack that I have to deal with in the source code that I'm dealing with. I'm slowly uncovering a lot of tech debt, my friend. A lot.
A lot, huh?
Like a lot. Like there's been a lot of cowboys up in that code, and we're the ones that have to go in and patch up and mend those fences that they just kind of ramshot put up.
Well, that is your life as an IT person. person.
Yeah.
In any realm of IT, when you get into a new job, you're typically spending your first year cleaning up someone else's shit.
Yeah, you are mucking out the stalls for a good portion of your first couple of years, especially when you get assigned a project that people haven't like left neglected for a little while too. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost like a president. The first 100 days is really just cleaning up everyone else's horse shit.
Unless you're Trump, and then it's literally just shitting on everything that ever came before.
Yeah, it's then, well, unless you're a Republican president the last, couple decades, then you're just causing a lot more shit.
That's fair. We're back to the politics again, and people
back
just
to it. We got to get the fuck out of this, man. I can't help myself. Jesus.
Yeah, I set you up for all of this. It's fair. That's fair. All right. So the themes for the movie this week were really hard to kind of nail down. So what I just kind of went with is like dark love, anti-love, not really love. You got this wrong. My God, is this a bad decision? And then all of the regret that comes from all of the bad choices that you make in relationships. Because that's like as close to the theme of this movie that I could get.
Yeah, probably. I mean, that seems fair.
So up first is going to be Bad Cop with Anti-Love Song. But before that, we're going to have the Legion Patreon ad. And then after that, we're going to do the review of Whirlpool, the very first in the entry of Blood Hunger, which is the Jose Ramon Larraz box set.
This'll keep it quiet. Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. You caught me cutting a new show. I'm Bo Ransdell, and I'm one of the many creators you can find on Legion Podcasts. I said quiet! My fellow podcasters and I work hard to bring you the best in horror podcasting, but that comes at a cost.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Not that, but also yes. No, what I'm getting at is that there are server costs, costs for good microphones and software for editing, all the things that make our shows, fun to listen to. And you can help. If you're enjoying the shows on legionpodcasts.com or in the Legion Network available on iTunes and Stitcher, just about anywhere you can download a podcast, really, you can help us out and get a little something for your trouble at patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. For just $2 a month, you get a pair of movie commentaries exclusive to Patreon, and for $5, you can also join us for a monthly screening of a movie. All of that available on patreon.com/Legion Podcasts. We appreciate it, and thank you for listening. Now, back to the cutting room.
Bad Cop with Anti-Love Song.
Nice. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it fits because what you think you're seeing in this movie isn't necessarily what you're getting, and you're going to have a hard time enjoying and or explaining a lot of what's going on in Whirlpool.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So let's start it, huh? Okay, Whirlpool, the first 20 minutes starts out dude paddling in a lake, seems to be looking around for something. He doesn't seem, he doesn't seem creepy at all. He just fine.
Yeah,
Creepy
he's not looking at the water as if he may have drowned several kittens and wants to masturbate at the thought of it.
Two ladies are in bed. Get out. We see some boobs in that, so thanks, movie, right?
Yeah, naked ladies, consensual nudity in that they are actresses who were told what was going to be filmed and what happened, and it's here for us to witness. So, yeah, all good to say thank you.
Yeah. Well, one wants to leave. The younger lady of the two wants to leave, and so they're going to leave. As they get ready to leave, the older lady reminds that creepy bloke to stop at the shop so that they have groceries for the weekend, and she'll be working all day in the city. Well, she's in the city, she drops off that woman, and she walks into a photo shoot, and, well, there's dialogue, so that's our first clip.
How's Theo?
Fine.
What's he doing now, then?
Oh, he's down at the cottage, doing the usual thing with the camera. You know what he is.
Oh, kinky as ever, I suppose, eh?
Well, he's very sensitive.
And what are you doing these days, Sarah?
Oh, well, lots of work, a little bit of play, like I usually do.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, I'm sorry. Sarah, this is Tulia.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
Tulia's just a beginner. Perhaps Theo would like to take some pictures of her sometime.
I'm sure he'd be delighted to.
Theo is Sarah's nephew. A nice chap and a great artist.
So we get kind of introductions to everybody, so that's kind of why I included that clip. So anyway, we see Theo's just kind of, he's just kind of going through the woods, again, being creepy. Then he spends some time in a cemetery being creepy, watching an old dude play. I called it a flute. It's not a flute. I don't know what it is, but for now on, I'm calling it a flute. So just
it's like a piccolo or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm calling it a flute. So fuck it.
Whatever. It's a woodwind instrument of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the ladies are driving, and well, there's more dialogue. So that's our next clip.
It's very nice of you to invite me to your home, Sarah. I love the country.
Me too. Theo and I live in a lovely spot, right off the beaten track.
Is it very much further?
No, not far, about 20 miles.
Eric said Theo is your nephew.
Well, not exactly. He's a boy without friends or family, and I gave him a home. Theo is delicate and intelligent. He's a strange boy, ideal for a person like me, who likes to live in solitude. I don't think I could stand anyone else.
He wants to become a photographer?
He is a photographer. A very good one, and most artistic. All my best pictures have been taken by Theo.
So there's the obvious ploy as to what's going on there.
Yeah.
He's not really her nephew.
No. Yeah, I mean, come on. What is it about the olden days? Like a lot of these movies we watch, especially ones made kind of in the 60s or 70s, where arbitrarily you meet someone for like 1 minute and all of a sudden you're going to go spend the weekend at their house out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Every fucking movie. Every one of them.
I guess people were a lot more free back in the swinging 60s, and then in the 70s, if you had cocaine and a hi-fi, that's all you needed to get a hot girl to come back to your pad.
I guess, but yeah, man, holy shit. Like, I mean, even when I was in my 20s, if I met someone at a bar and they're like, hey, you want to spend the weekend at my cottage in the middle of nowhere? I'd be like, calm down, Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm not going there. No. I'm going to go home. Have yourself a fantastic day.
Why is it automatically Jeffrey Dahmer? If you're getting picked up by someone, are you getting trolled by dudes to go to country cottages? I'm not understanding this scenario.
Anybody. I just went with Jeffrey Dahmer just because, there's been a lot of movies lately about him. So
Right. So it could be this.
It's just fresh in my brain that, when you're going to go serial killer who tries to get strangers back to their house, I just go Jeffrey Dahmer.
So basically, if someone's inviting you to a country villa, then they're a mass murderer?
If I've never met them before and it's like they're offering me that within 5 minutes, yeah. To me, that's what I think automatically.
I would proceed with caution and arm myself to the teeth.
I mean, that's not bad either. I mean, I guess if you want to just check out the cottage, because maybe they're just good people who are like, come spend some time at this fucking really cool cottage and there you go.
Well, maybe in my scenario, I'm Dexter and I'm hunting the hunters.
Maybe. So, they get to the house, meet Theo, and they get inside and they're having some drinks and, well, yeah, that's our next clip.
Theo passes most of his time vagabonding in the woods. I'm afraid I spoil him. Whiskey? Water?
Yes, please.
He's obsessed by photography. He's a bit of a bore at times. Has anyone phoned?
No, at least not while I was here.
Did you go to the village?
Yes, and I put everything in the fridge.
Oh, what beautiful photos. Did Theo take them?
Yes, some of them.
This one's great.
That's one of Theo's.
Who's this?
Ah, that's Rhonda. Rhonda is a young Irish girl who lived with us for a time.
Very beautiful.
Divine, isn't she?
Fabulous.
I personally prefer Aunt Sarah. Much more photogenic.
Eric's right. Theo's a fantastic photographer.
Julia is just a beginner. I met her at Eric's studio this morning. I thought you could take some good pictures of her for her composite. Just like you did, for Rhonda. Julia is staying with us for the weekend. You wanted a fascinating subject to photograph. Well, I'm offering you this beautiful vision. So make the most of it.
Yeah, you little shit. Make the most of it. Don't make me tell you twice.
He seems rather ungrateful to his auntie buck partner.
Yeah, right? She's trying to help you out.
She's bringing you hot babes from modeling shots and shit, dude. Stop being such a whiny little bastard.
Right? And he's like, well, and like, oh, yeah, and Rhonda's very pretty. And he's like, wow, my auntie's so much better. And it's like, oh, God, you creep. Theo and Tulia, they have a little photo shoot in the woods, and he starts staring at her like a creep. Like not just like photographing her, but like really kind of disturbingly staring at her. So then they kind of get separated and she finds herself alone and she's looking for him like, hey, where are you? And he's like, well, I'm, and she can't find him. Then all of a sudden, we see some guy and he's playing that flute again, or he's not playing it. He's holding the flute. So we see who it is. And we're like, well, motherfucker, he's staring at her. He breaks a branch. She sees him. He runs, thinking, hey, perfect crime. I got away or whatever. And, Theo comes up and she's like, yeah, no, there was some dude here. And he's like, nah, you gotta be crazy. And, then they, head back to the house. And then they decide to head back to the house, and that ends that first 20 minutes. So there was our opening 20 minutes. So some, weirdness. There you go.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of something doesn't seem right. And it's kind of obvious from what he's talking about that his auntie really isn't his auntie. This is just some kind of a sex game that they play where she pretends to be his aunt and they are fucking.
Yeah, that seems to be right.
So far, all the nudity that has shown up has been somewhat okay. We're all everything's on the up and up so far. Nothing terrible. And bonus points to Laraz for giving us long, leering looks at the older lady as much as we do all of the younger women that are in this. Everybody is just treated like the sexual object that Laraz intends them to be in this.
That's a fact. Yeah. You are right.
We can move on.
You are correct, sir. All right. So the next 20 minutes, they head back to the house. Sarah is just kind of staring into nothingness, so that's a little creepy as well. Probably don't need all that creepiness in one house, but hey, what are we gonna do? They start drinking again, and that leads to our next clip.
Pass me your glass.
Oops, you'll make me drunk.
And would that really bother you?
No, not really.
And so?
I just don't think I ought to.
You sound as if you have reservations. Do you think I'm trying to corrupt you? You make me feel like the devil himself.
Oh, no, please. It's just everything in this house is so strange. It makes me aware of things I wouldn't normally think about. I feel overpowered by you, Sarah. I get the impression that all this has happened before. I feel as if I'm following in someone else's footsteps.
Whose footsteps?
Rhonda's. And for some unknown reason, whenever I think of her, shivers run down my spine.
I think you're the kind of person who's inclined to be susceptible to atmospheres.
Perhaps. Although my suspicions aren't based on anything definite, but rather on intuition. I sense an evil atmosphere of darkness in which strange, fearful powers predominate, terrifying powers beyond all understanding, which can twist and torture you.
So, she's got a feeling like, hey, I feel like I'm just one of the many women who you and your nephew have lured into this house. Sarah spends most of this night just staring at Tulia, and Theo's in his dark room developing some photos and going through some film. And while he's doing this, there's a lot of sinister music being played, so that's kind of off-putting when he's just developing photos. I really felt sometimes some of the music around here was not well thought out about what they were doing. You know what I mean?
I think they were trying to give you an overbearing sense of dread that he is so obsessed with whatever it is that he's doing photos of that you're supposed to wonder what the photos are of and why it's so ominous. But also, you're just supposed to not feel comfortable for the young lady in this scenario. You're supposed to feel like something bad is going to happen to her, and you're just kind of waiting to see what it's going to be.
Yeah, okay, I get that. I just thought it was kind of a weird moment.
Yeah, they're overselling it. The music is overselling what's supposed to be ominous about this sequence, and so it just doesn't quite work, but then it's probably just the choices of a first-time filmmaker, you know?
Probably, yep. But, so I won't give him too much shit on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so then he gets done and he heads back up to the room and he heads upstairs. He locks his room. So that's also kind of off-putting that he locks his dark room. Makes you wonder what the hell's going on in there. So at least that part was like, okay, well, what the fuck are you doing in there? What are the pictures like in there? Because it's a little creepy that you're locking it.
Right.
If someone locks their dark room like that, it's bad.
Well, if someone locks their darkroom like that, they also may just be trying to protect photos that are developing and or film that is developing or something along those lines.
I don't trust it. You could easily put a note up on the door saying, hey, don't open, doing pictures.
Yeah, but you could also still lock it. Like you lock it so where no one can come in while you're doing that stuff. That makes sense. But locking it so that no one will ever be allowed in there, that's what's ominous. It doesn't matter what room it is. If you lock it so that no one else can ever go in there, what is it you're trying to keep so secret in there?
Yeah. What do you got going on?
Yeah, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing in there?
Yeah, creep. They have some more drinks, and then Tulia is getting ready to get some cigarettes out, and Sarah's like, "No, have some of my special cigarettes." And you're all of a sudden like, "Well, what's so special about them?" And I think, are they trying to say they're weed?
That's the only thing that I could kind of think, or that they're special cigarettes and that they contain some type of something besides tobacco that,
like some sort of like something to get you horny or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it possibly, like maybe there's something like that that's laced in the cigarettes, but it also could just be them trying to get something like a Spanish fly into this lady.
Yeah, I mean, because they all smoke the same cigarette, so obviously it's nothing that's going to knock you out, but maybe it's just supposed to be Randy or some shit like that.
Right, like it's amyl nitrate laced cigarettes or some shit. Who knows?
Yeah, something. Yeah, I have no idea. But,
they're doing poppers while they smoke cigarettes or some bullshit. Who knows?
Yeah, they're doing something weird around here. So then Aunt Sarah, she breaks the silence because there is a long time of some uncomfortable silences here. Well, she breaks it, and that's our next clip.
Rhonda and I often used to go for long walks in the woods. The lake terrified her. I never could understand why she was so frightened. She found it so sinister.
It is. Well, I didn't mean that exactly. But it's a place where reality and fantasy mix. It's the lake. It's like a dark mirror.
Full house.
Fed up with this. There's no excitement. You win every round.
Well, that's the way it is.
Quite frankly, I'm enjoying myself.
Well, I'm not. Listen, I have an idea that might cheer up this funeral party. Pass me the cards. Now, it's quite simple, but this time the wager will be rather original. He who has the lowest hand must take off the article of clothing that the person holding the highest hand commands.
So they play this weird game of strip poker, and, everyone gets into various stages of nudeness. So and they seem to be enjoying themselves. So thank you, movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is also a little bit of a grooming thing that they're doing too. They're getting her used to more and more sexualized behavior around like them as a group.
Yes, that is also a fact.
She is not doing any of this unwillingly, and she doesn't seem like she's all that manipulated into it, and she is an adult of sound mind, so with whatever choices she makes, but they are easing her into it.
They're easing her into a threesome.
Is what they are trying to do. Yes.
That is definitely what the plan is. Yeah, and if you can't pick up on that by now sitting at that table, I don't know how to help you anymore.
If you didn't pick up on that like the first 20 minutes before they started with the fancy special cigarettes and the fucking strip poker that is clearly engineered to make the girl get naked, you just don't know.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't help you. All right, you're a little too naive for the world, and we'll, you need to be protected.
Right. If it's not obvious to you in this film, then you should probably not go away to someone's country cottage without being armed to the teeth for the weekend.
Yeah. Do not go away because that shit it'll go poorly for you.
Yeah, you're way too innocent, and why are you even listening to this show?
Yeah, why are you listening to this show? You know what? Get your parents on the phone. We need to talk to them. Anyway, Sarah gets up and she whispers a little something to Theo, and then she goes to bed, and Tulio was like, "Hey, what was that?" And she's like, "Don't worry about it." And so then Tulio and Theo, they start messing around as Sarah's just staring at a mirror. Theo then gets some performance issues, and that's our next clip.
What's the matter? Did I do something wrong?
No, it's me that's wrong. Everything's just fine. It always happens like this.
That's not playing fair, Theo. You get me all worked up, and for what?
It's nothing to do with you. The same thing happened with Rhonda.
With Rhonda? What happened with Rhonda?
It's nothing. Forget it.
Why? What's all the mystery about her? This whole house is like a monument to her. Theo, what did happen to Rhonda? Why did she leave?
So then we cut to Sarah. She's getting ready for bed, and she's staring at pics of Rhonda, and she starts kind of almost crying in bed.
By the way, every fucking pic of Rhonda is naked, so every time we see that, thank you, movie.
There you go. Yeah, because, she seems to be somebody who is in these photos for a particular reason, right? So then we see a flashback of Theo and Rhonda hooking up. And that goes on for a little bit. And then it seems like Tulia is having a nightmare. And then all of a sudden she sees Rhonda in the window. And then Rhonda kind of shows up, right by her bedside and touches her hand, and there's blood on it. But then they start kissing and making out, and Tulia kind of grabs the back of Rhonda's hair and all of a sudden lifts up, and it's a wig, and all of a sudden we see Theo laughing at her, and she's like, "Oh, holy shit," and kind of, freaks her out. And that ends that 20 minutes.
I'm going to say, since that was a dream, the nudity in there is okay, and you can say thank you, movie, if you want.
Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, movie.
Yeah. I mean, really, if it's in a film and the actors are okay with it, and that the actors are okay with it, it's still technically a thank you movie, but the context of the scene is what ruins it for you, and you probably shouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah, you really shouldn't, because the context is that, they're bad things are about.
Yeah, but I mean, who hasn't had sex nightmares or wet nightmares?
Jesus Christ. I mean, all the time. It's fucking ridiculous.
It's the only way Matt gets off these days.
It's a fear boner. That's all that's happening around here.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what I'd like to hypothesize here. I think that the auntie basically said, get her warmed up and then bring her up to my room.
Yes, I think that's exactly what it was supposed to be.
Also clip.
Yeah, get her warmed up and then bring her to my room. God damn it, now I just said it.
And I'm only using the one that you said.
You're a bitch.
No one's arguing that. But so that's what he was supposed to do. They were supposed to get going, and then somehow he was supposed to coerce her upstairs as well. And I think the auntie basically relies on this guy who's supposed to be this irresistible pretty boy that every girl must love, right?
When I'm just he is just, I didn't think anything to write home about.
Right, I don't get it either. But for whatever reason, our main character that we are following here seems to be into him as well, and really into him, because she wanted to throw down so much so that she expresses her disappointment that she was all worked up without any release.
Yeah, man, she's like, she was starting to sound like a frat bro, being like, "This isn't fair, you got me all worked up." I was like, Jesus, lady, stop it.
Right.
No means no.
She all but said, "Look, I have a white on. I don't want to get the blue ovaries from this.
So you better do something about it." It's like, hey, lady, no means no.
A lot of clips in here and a lot of things that we shouldn't really be discussing anyway. But anyway.
No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I like that the lady actually expresses sexual desire and talks about the disappointment and how, she's all worked up. And I think that basically what he was supposed to do from this all worked up thing was
take her to Sarah's room.
Yeah, right. And then Sarah will take care of it, and he just likes to watch. That's his thing. We'll see that later on, that's definitely what's going on, or what the plan normally is.
I mean, later on, Sarah's gonna say that exact thing, is that he was supposed to bring her up to the room.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah.
But it's pretty obvious that that's what the ploy was. But because she starts talking about Rhonda, his entire mood changes. And even though he physically isn't, aroused and ready to go, he was ready to go for everything else because he just likes to watch. And that's an obvious thing. And so when she brings up this Rhonda lady that went missing, his demeanor changes. Like, he just completely loses interest. And you see, if you pay attention, a flash of guilt on his face when she brings up Rhonda and starts talking about why she left.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah,
I can stop talking about that 20 minutes now.
There's something going on here.
Yeah,
and
he is sus as fuck, and it's dubious as to whether or not Sarah knows anything, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know if Sarah knows anything, and in fact, you're going to find out she doesn't know shit. Anyway, so we start the next 20 minutes with a man named Mr. Field in his office, and an officer visits him, and then there's 2 other scenes after this. It's all rolled into one pretty big-sized clip, our biggest clip in the night.
Good morning. Good morning, Inspector. Please sit down.
Thank you. I'd like to ask you a few questions, Mr. Field, concerning this person. A young Irish girl by the name of Rhonda. Rhonda Clive. Does the name mean anything to you, Mr. Field?
Yes, of course it does. And you know it. Cigarette?
No, thank you. Fine. That makes things easier.
What precisely do you want to know, Inspector?
Rhonda Clive has disappeared. I want you to tell me when you last saw her, Mr. Field. Nothing's been seen of her in the past few weeks. Knowing your relationship with the person in question, I thought it was best to speak to you personally and privately.
Last night I was waiting for you both to come to my room. Didn't Julia want to?
No, it was my fault. I messed things up. I think we're rushing things a bit too much for Julia. I don't think she's going to be as good as Rhonda, but with a bit of coaxing, we might get a few kicks out of her. Wait until tonight. I think she's got the idea by now. Just leave it to me. I'll get her warmed up during the day. I promise you an extra special session for tonight, Auntie dear.
Do you really think so?
Oh, I know so. She'll soon learn that a threesome can be even more exciting. She's a very sexy girl, and no fool. Let me take care of things, and she'll soon surpass your darling Rhonda.
Tell me, Theo, did she come to collect her suitcases?
Who?
Rhonda. Don't you remember? She said she'd come back for them. It's strange she hasn't returned.
Were you shocked by last night's goings-on?
I know I should have been, but I wasn't.
Life is like a delicious ripe fruit. You have a limited time in which to eat it. If you waste that time, you run the risk of never being able to finish it. And that would be a shame, believe me. One must try and get the utmost out of life without trying to understand the whys and the wherefores of everything.
Do you know what I think, Theo? I'm taking Rhonda's place, and not very successfully.
What do you mean?
It's true. I'm a woman, and I understand other women.
You refer to Aunt Sarah?
Of course. She's in love with Rhonda. You formed a perfect trio capable of getting everything out of life you wanted. And I'm the intruder, incapable of fitting in. Sometimes I think Rhonda's nothing but a ghost who haunts this house.
What's all this?
I'm a photographer.
I didn't come here to be photographed.
Everything here is photographable. At least that's the way I see it.
Your friend Patterson gave me your address.
Pat?
Yes. He said I'd find her here.
Find who?
Rhonda, the young Irish girl that you invited here to take photos of.
I can't understand why Pat should say such a stupid thing.
Well, that's what he said.
And that's the longest clip of the day, but all of it was pretty important shit going on. So we
Wake
see
up,
Sarah.
everybody.
What?
Wake up, everybody.
Everyone awake? Well, we see Sarah has no idea what's going on. She thinks, but something obviously has happened to Rhonda. And I don't believe Rhonda has gone to Italy. And so Sarah has no idea.
Yeah, you know for a fact that the little snot-nosed fucker is lying because he says she only spent 2 days with them. And if there are suitcases and a bunch of other shit, and as long as all those photos are there, and as much as Auntie is obsessed with her, it has to have been longer than just 2 days.
Well, also he lied, in which we know Auntie said she didn't take her bags, and he said, I took her with her 2 bags.
Yeah, he's a lying little shit.
Yeah, he's a lying little shit. Something weird's going on.
Yeah, he's trying to cover something up. It's obvious.
Yeah. Tulia and fucking Shitstain, they get back to Aunt Sarah's house and they can see a note. Sarah went to the village. So Theo, he's gonna go work in his dark room. Tulia, she says she wants to go and watch him work, and he gets all bitchy about it, how no one's allowed into his dark room, not even Aunt Sarah. So after he goes in, Tulia, she goes up to the attic and investigates it. She finds baby dolls nailed to the wall, and then she finds a chest with a mannequin parts in it and a wig, much like the wig in her nightmare. Then the door to the attic closes and it locks her in as she's trying to get out. We see Sarah getting home looking for Tulia, and Theo comes up and goes, yeah, I thought she was here. And they go looking around and they go into Tulia's room and she's on the bed and she was like, oh yeah, I just fell asleep. And, she was, being trickster there. However, Theo hears the door and he goes up and he checks the attic door and he sees it's kind of ajar and he thinks that's fucking weird. And so he knows something's up.
It's always weird when a door turns into a jar.
A jar. Aha. Mm-hmm. So, later on in town, Theo and Tulia are buying some of those special cigarettes from a guy, and they decide they're leaving the cafe, all 3 of them. They get to the car, and we see the old guy playing his flute again, and Theo's disturbed by this, so they drive away. Then Theo turns down a dirt road, and the other guy's in the back seat, and he pretty much starts molesting Tulia really badly. And then
that's
they
straight
stop
up
the
sexual
car.
assault, like right from the start.
Yes. Just terrible. And then the car stops, she runs out, and he pretty much strips her down and starts violating her with his hands. He's a piece of shit. And then he allows her to get up. This all while Theo's taking pictures. He then gets up and runs back to the car with Theo, and they start driving away as she's chasing him. And
after all that, she doesn't want them to leave her alone out there.
Well, yeah, she's cold and she doesn't have any clothes.
That's
they
fair.
stop. Yeah, they stop. And they cover her up and he goes, hey, I got some great shots of you. That's what this is for. And she's pissed and wants to go back to London. That's the end of that 20 minutes as we go into 30. So now we're starting to see that Theo's into some really, really sick, bad shit.
Yeah, that was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Well, the idea is that Theo has a very serious voyeuristic tendency because he can't do the things that he likes to do or wants to do himself. And so if he wants to photograph a woman during her assault and then the fear of being abandoned naked in the cold, he very clearly has some issues he needs to work through with himself.
Yeah.
And this was sexual assault straight up.
Oh, straight up, this was sexual assault.
With photographic evidence of her being sexually assaulted.
Those 2 motherfuckers should be in jail.
The way that she goes back to the villa with him and is back with Sarah and everything, there's a bit of a stretch here where you have to just kind of believe that she would.
Yeah, that she forgave him because it's almost like when we, just so everyone understands, when we go to the scene, it's like this never happened. This particular scene.
Yeah, it's almost like it just got shoved in there later and they tried to make it seem like it would make sense.
Yeah, because no one knows, like, it's never mentioned again, and Sarah is completely enthralled by Theo again, so it's all fucking, you just don't know why.
Yeah, so it's either that Sarah herself is got some other baggage and issues going on to this point where she is used to this type of mistreatment and can forgive it a little too easily, or the movie just doesn't know what the fuck it's doing with this plot.
It was a mistake by a first-time filmmaker. That's what I think.
I would hope, yeah, because you would have some type of response after something like
yeah,
that. Where
I mean,
would want to
why
leave.
would you want to be back in this home? And she goes from wanting to go back to London that moment and like, fuck your photos, I want to go back to London, to never talking about going back to London again.
If we could say perhaps that maybe she is doing all of this because she was familiar with Rhonda and is investigating, it would make more sense why she would endure this type of mistreatment in such a way to keep going, because she's trying to find out what happened to Rhonda, who is someone that she cares about, maybe.
But she's not. She doesn't know who Rhonda is.
Right. So there's a lot of leaps that this film is going to start making from this point on, which you have to just kind of either go with or you're going to hate the movie, basically, because where it goes from here, it feels like a complete 180 and it just like retcons a bunch of shit in for you. And it's either the issues of a first-time filmmaker or maybe this film got fucked with. I don't know, but it's going to get a little confusing and weird and a bit frustrating. But
Now, you know what, though? Just from this, everything after this all kind of adds up. If they would never have had this scene, this particular one.
I think the only reason they did it was to show that it's a repetitive behavior because of things that get revealed later.
What gets revealed later. So they're going to introduce the other character who sold the cigarettes, or as I call him, Red, because he's a ginger.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. It's just I will freely admit it is frustrating at this point to not get what the fuck they're trying to do for a couple of scenes.
And if you just took this scene out, this movie, you would not have that madness, because everything would still line up. If you could have somehow introduced Red in a different way, that would have been the way to do it instead of having this scene.
Yeah, we can move on. I'm done. We can let's finish this off.
Yeah, right. So Theo is developing film, and you're seeing photos of Tulia looking, shocked and scared and shit, and it's not good. Sarah and Tulia talk, and again, this is madness in our next clip.
Theo, Rhonda, and I spent many intimate hours in this house together.
Intimate hours? Like those of last night, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy it?
Me, yes, but I don't know whether Theo did.
Oh, he did. Theo's a little peeping Tom. He enjoys these situations. It's the only thing that makes him get excited.
I don't know, though. I got the impression it was my fault. He's a very sensitive boy, and I hope I didn't upset him.
In the art of lovemaking, Theo is not exactly a Don Juan. It wasn't your fault. You're a really wonderful girl. And I'm sure that between the two of us, we can make something of it. And then the three of us will really be able to enjoy ourselves. Enjoyment without reservations of any kind.
Yeah, she's so concerned about poor Theo, even though he basically let her be violated and was going to abandon her naked.
And talks about how much she enjoyed the night before and how great everything was, and that she wants him to enjoy it again. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, and isn't this the sequence where they're talking about the sex they had and then we get a flashback to actually watch it while they're talking about it?
No.
Okay.
That was something else.
Yeah, but we do see them all getting together with him filming them at some point.
Yes, that's coming up.
Okay, never mind. Let's move on. But anyway, so apparently
Sarah hook up.
Apparently they're already having sex. Except that because of what happened last night. Yeah, it's almost like that sequence before where she gets assaulted while being out with the cigarette man during the day was literally just shoehorned in there at the wrong time.
I think so. I really do. I think they really wanted to introduce Red and try. It's almost like they shot the movie and then go after the ending sequence. They went, "Wow, we really want to set up Red more because you only see him in this ending sequence." All right, well, let's put in. We have no idea what he does. Let's shoehorn this in here and show how this is a pattern.
Yeah. Okay. We're obsessing about this. We need to move on.
It's because it is so. It's why we're obsessing about it because it is so shoehorned in. Anyway. Yeah. All right, so later on, this is like right after this now, but we were just talking about Theo is photographing Tulia and Sarah just going at it, straight up boning. This is Thank You movie.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of people out there that'll say that they can't enjoy watching an older woman with a younger woman, but I would say that your search history on YouPorn is probably going to tell the difference on that one, folks.
Yeah, so don't even try it.
This was actually pretty erotically filmed, and for a first-time filmmaker, rather well lit and shot and quite impressive, and you can see where Larraz's skill is going to be coming in later on.
Yeah. So while this all happening, we see Mr. Fields is snooping about outside the house. Then more Sarah and Tulia going at it. Then Sarah instructs Theo to get over onto the bed. They both start just attacking him, and start fucking him, and so he bones them both, so they have a threesome. So obviously now he doesn't have the performance issues now.
Can we just point something out here real quick?
Go ahead.
He starts with Sarah, and they're getting...
And Sarah literally grabs him and attacks him, which again just causes you massive confusion.
Right, but he's actually starting to pump away on her, and then all of a sudden, Tulia just grabs him and starts making out with him and pulls him off of her onto herself. Now, each of these women were laying there very disappointed that they weren't getting the sex from him at the same time the other one was actually getting sex from him. They're still trying to portray this guy as some kind of like God's gift to sexually free women everywhere in some way, shape, or form, where they're both disappointed and very left out of the threesome, you know?
Yes.
So I don't think these people know how threesomes work, because like everybody's supposed to be working with everybody. Right?
Yeah, I mean, for doing these threesomes a lot, they sure haven't perfected them.
Right, like maybe it's just me watching too much porn as a perverted fucking old man, but
can you ever watch too much porn?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Yes, you can. Yes, you absolutely can. Right. Yes, you absolutely can.
Yes, but the point I'm trying to make here is it doesn't seem like they're doing it in such a way as that so no one feels left out. That's the important thing that I'm getting at, is when you have multiple partners all going at it at once, you don't want to have anybody being just left laying there feeling left out.
Yeah, this is true.
You know, because that person then has to go make a sandwich and watch, and he wants to be that person that makes a sandwich and watch and wants to be left out. But the women are both hurtful when they're using the man to be to make the other person be left out in this sequence. That's
he's pretty much what it seems like is he's pretty much a sex toy. Nobody wants to take turns.
Right. That's how it goes, basically.
Yeah.
We can move on.
Jesus.
I'm done. I'm just saying.
All right. So then after going, Fields accidentally kicks a bucket and Theo hears it. So he gets dressed and he goes outside to investigate, and we see Fields runs to his car and gets in, and all of a sudden Theo pops up from the backseat and stabs him a shit ton, killing him. So then we cut to the next morning, and Tulia wakes up, and Sarah's still asleep, and she sees Theo's keys to his darkroom are on the floor. So she picks it up, gets dressed, and goes to check it out. In the darkroom, she finds photos of Rhonda with Red, and then we get a flashback of Red and Rhonda kind of hooking up in the woods, very consensual, all while Theo takes pictures. It seems like she wants to be there. But then the old man who played the flute all the time, he shows up. And Red threatens Rhonda with a knife unless she lays there, and the old man rapes Rhonda. And after raping her, Rhonda kind of freaks out, and I don't think it was on purpose, but she freaks out, and they weren't careful with the knife, and they accidentally stab her, killing her. And they dump her body in the lake, where he's always on there. We cut back to present time, and Theo shows up right behind Tulia, and that is our final clip.
Do you know what happens to curious little girls who play with fire? The proverb says that they burn their fingers, Tulia dear. Naughty little girl, taking advantage of my carelessness to stick your pretty little nose into my affairs. But this time I shall be quite sad. Ah, yes, Tulia. Indeed, very sad. Very much more so than last time. And I was very fond of Rhonda. But with you, well, it's different.
But why did you do it, Theo? Why?
No, you'd never understand, my love. One must be blessed with a special kind of awareness to relish in suffering. No, you'd never understand my explanation.
Huh.
What a dick. So, she throws a bucket of the water that he puts the photos in on him, and she escapes. He chases her, gets her up against a tree outside, and he's like, hey, kiss me, like you kiss Sarah, and they start making out. And as she's kissing him, begging him, I'll never tell anybody, he stabs her repeatedly, killing her. Roll credits.
Yeah, literally, that's how the film ends. He stabs her a bunch. She falls over into a pile of mud. You're like waiting for something else to happen, some kind of retribution. He even kisses her after she's fucking dead and a corpse hanging off of that log. Then she falls to her death, and it's like this real dour down fucking ending that really doesn't quite make sense, other than there just wasn't going to be a happy ending for this girl because she ignored way too many fucking red flags.
Yes, way too many red flags. You can't ignore that many red flags. It's going to be bad things.
This is why you never go away to someone's house for the weekend with them without arming yourself to the teeth.
Exactly, especially if you've just met them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, this was a bit frustrating and a bit uneven and just kind of went all over the place. And I feel like they should have shown the flashback while she was being chased. And if they were really going to do this, then the redheaded guy that was assaulting her and then her being stabbed while promising she'll never tell, they should have just done that all at once. It would have had a lot more impact. It would have been a lot more disgusting and would have showed that once they got a taste of this rape and murder fest with the women, that they're going to continue doing it, which is something that serial killers would do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do that with this guy, but like they were a team, so why not have the redhead just be involved with this now too?
Yeah, right. So it's all bad. It's a bummer ending. Again, for a first time filmmaker, this was actually really good. For his first film, like well put together. It is a hard subject matter, so you're kind of nervous on that. But trigger warning for anybody else. But I mean, really, it wasn't. It was a well acted movie. The story was good all the way up until just they had to shoehorn Red in there, and that's about it. Just makes it massively confusing.
Yeah, you could not have him in there at all, and the sequence could have just been, the guy still needed to have somebody be photographed, but you could have shown the guy Red at the bar. They didn't have to have the whole her being attacked, unless they moved that to right before where she is killed, and then that makes it even darker, like I said. But otherwise, I don't know why it doesn't make sense to have that sequence be where it is at all.
It does not.
Yeah, it just doesn't work.
Especially with the very next sequence, she is enamored by him and wants him terribly. So
right, unless they already established that there is something in her past that has her believe that behavior like this is okay. But yeah, they don't establish it. They don't explain it. It just doesn't make sense, and it does kind of stop the film dead for a moment. And then the serious dour ending. Like if you're going to go for it, just throw it all together at once, including what happens to her with the assault. Just get it all together at once and make us feel terrible about humanity.
Yeah, just make us, if you're going to make us feel bad, just get it over with. Don't ease me into feeling like shit.
Yeah, okay. Other than that, everything that we talked about, like the cinematography is gorgeous. The way things are put together, as far as the actual editing between scenes for cutting things together is good. It's just the story moments that are a little bit confusing. I think they should have shown the reveal, like I said, and then she goes off with him to go get cigarettes or something like that, like they were going to do. Then the assault happens, and then she basically promises when they pick her back up that she won't say anything about what happened to her. She finds out about the stuff because she wants to investigate finally because she knows something horrible's happening. Then he catches her investigating, chases her down and kills her just like that. Like, boom. Like,
agreed. I mean that just works. But listen, and also let's give the acting some props. I thought it was a well acted movie too. So
yeah, there is definitely some deep issues that are just under the surface with Sarah's character, where she doesn't want to admit anything about herself to anyone, and she is using this damaged young gentleman to be able to predatorily seek out lovers, but she picks them out herself. She just uses him to help ease them into having sex with her.
Yeah, and it's not healthy. It's a bit of a weird dynamic, and there's a lot of using of people. It's not like, not recognizing people as being people. You're just using them as much as you can.
Yeah, there's a lot of manipulation and just kind of trying to just maneuver people into your life in a way that you want them to be, where it's not just be frank about it. Like if she would have approached the young lady, said, hey, you want to come for a weekend of drinking and debauchery and just see what happens, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you're going to get turned down.
We get into some shit in the goddamn woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like like basically drinking and debauchery. That's what we're into for the weekend. What do you think?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Are you into it? How you feeling?
Yeah. You're around a bunch of models. You maybe ask, like, let's say you ask 10 of them, right? And like 9 of them turn you down, but one says yes, and they're already game for it, and they know what's going to happen before the weekend even gets going. Then go for it.
That's the win.
Yeah.
Concentrate on the one who says yes, not on the few who said no.
Yeah. And don't do this like meet my nephew who's this adorable guy and then manipulation. Just fucking put your cards on the table. It's a lot easier.
And he ain't that adorable, people. So let's pump the brakes on that one too.
Yeah, let's just fucking pull the ripcord on this one, and then we'll get out, do a PSYOP news, and just be done for the fucking day.
Yeah, I'm into it.
All right. For the transitional song, we're going to have Morphine and All Wrong, because everything that was happening in this movie was all wrong.
All wrong. All wrong.
When we come back, we'll have some PSYOP news. Morphine's a band that maybe not everybody that's listening to the Pirate Radio Edit is going to be into. Maybe,
I could get into it.
Yeah. I'm definitely down with it. I dig a lot of what Morphine does. I'm like not a huge fan of theirs, but I mean, when I want to just listen to something that's chill, which isn't very often, I'm probably going to turn to Morphine.
Yeah.
They live up to
when
their
you
name.
don't need a man screaming into your ear at that very moment, you might listen to this.
Well, let's break everybody out of this chill moment and give them some PSYOP news.
Comes from our man Robert in the field.
Our man in the field, Robert.
He must have an incredibly long penis.
Ooh, I doubled up on that one.
Yeah, you did. Well done. Looking to watch porn in Louisiana? Expect to hand over your ID. It's from the NPR. Websites showcasing adult-only content, verifying your age by typing your birth date and clicking go is deemed a simple process. But in Louisiana, that is no longer the case.
Man,
As of
worst hand job ever.
As of January 1st, 2023, people in Louisiana will need to present proof of their age, such as a government-issued ID to visit and view pornographic websites like Pornhub, YouPorn, and RedTube.
This is like Traces of Death fucked a porno.
The controversial law known as Act 440 requires adult websites to screen their visitors using reasonable age verification. The new law applies to any websites whose content is at least 33.3% pornographic material that is harmful to minors. Welcome to the fucking Welcome to the fucking internet. According to the bill signed last June, the law doesn't specify how the 33.3% would be calculated. Quote, any commercial entity that knowingly and intentionally publishes or distributes material harmful to minors on the internet from a website that contains a substantial portion of such material shall be held liable if the entity fails to perform reasonable age verification methods to verify the age of individuals attempting to access the material. The bill states. Man, and people wonder why they're done with government. I mean, holy shit, that is so much double speak in that fucking thing to make a bill. It almost makes your head go fucking loopy.
They're perfectly okay with underage girls being assaulted by their fucking constituents, but the minute anyone tries to view porn that was filmed of consensual acts between two adults for an adult who is consenting to view it, it's not the responsibility of government to verify the age. It's to make sure that anyone who has an internet endpoint doesn't let anyone get to those sites if they don't want them to view it. That's how it's supposed to work.
Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards' office did not immediately respond to NPR's request request for comment on how those without a valid driver's license or other government issue ID can access online porn in Louisiana. Representatives at Pornhub, YouPorn, and RedTube did not immediately respond to NPR's request for comment on Louisiana's new law. Concerns grow about online privacy with the new law. As with any form of online verification in which you enter sensitive data such as your driver's license information, address, phone number, social security number, concerns grow as to whether your information is fully protected against security breaches and hacks. And with Louisiana's
new sex by sticking an erect penis into a vagina.
That is true. I heard about that. I read that in a book. And with Louisiana's new law, experts argue that the verification process could potentially come with serious privacy risks for users. Jason Kelly, the Associate Director of Digital Strategy at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, told NPR that it's reasonable for consumers to have concerns about their privacy when it comes to sharing private information with third parties, especially when there's no guarantee that the data won't be retained.
All right, all this is going to do is just ruin the day of every fucking boomer that's out there trying to look at porn because they don't know how a VPN works. Any fucking kid that wants to see this shit is going to know how a VPN works. They're going to have shit together and they're going to know how to fake that they're old enough to get onto these fucking sites. All they're doing is fucking over their own constituents and making it harder for them to get porn on the internet.
It's because they're dumb. Quote, there is the explicit intention in the law that verifies and websites that are using age verification should not retain your information, Kelly said. But users don't have a lot of guarantees that it will happen and the data will be removed or deleted and won't be shared with or used in other ways, he added. The new law aims to hold adult websites accountable. Representative Lori Siegel, the bill's sponsor, emphasized in a tweet last week before the law went into effect that age verification is a must to protect children from the dangers of online pornography. Online pornography is extreme and graphic and only one click away from our children. This is not your daddy's Playboy, Siegel tweeted, adding that
what
the law...
sites are they going to for this extreme and graphic porn? Because I would like to see it.
Just if you tell us the sites.
Could you give us
so
the
I know
sites?
To stay away from it.
Right, so that I don't go there.
Because I don't want that.
I do want to see that. Show me those sites. I have such sites to see with this extreme graphic porn.
All of it clips. Louisiana is the first U.S. state to implement age verification to view adult online content. Other states, such as California, have passed similar laws restricting minors' access. In Washington, D.C., Senator Mike Lee of Utah introduced a bill last month that would similarly require age verification, but on a national level. Additionally, he introduced a bill to change definition of what is considered obscene under the Communications Act of 1934. So there you go. Everyone start getting, if you don't already, start using your own VPN.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to use a VPN,
not that expensive.
Yeah, and it's really
everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, and if you're really, really good at it, you can actually create your own VPN using some of the same open protocols that all of these places you're paying for go to.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. I don't know, man. Like, for a party that's supposed to be all about, like, shrinking government, they sure make a lot of decisions about people's personal lives that include what the government can and can't do about it.
The Republican Party is not about shrinking government. The Republican Party is about getting government bigger into your home, into your bedroom. If you're, unless you're straight, then they're fine. But if you like anything other than the default of what they consider the default, you are going to have a problem.
Well, and also they want to make sure that they can keep a record of all the nastiness that you're into so that they can eventually use it against you.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to vote against us? I'm going to let everyone know you're porn. Well, go right the fuck on ahead. I am not important enough.
That was one of those fake spam emails that comes in that threatens that they have photos of you masturbating at a porn site, and they have photos of what you were looking at, and photos of you like making an O face while masturbating looking at it, and they're going to send it to everybody in your contacts or whatever. They give you one of those kinds of warnings. It was it's like,
well, I guess Grandma better get ready because I ain't paid you shit.
Right. It's like one of those things where you're like, you think about it for a moment and you're like, would I really be embarrassed enough by that I should even try and make this stop?
Yeah. Too late. I already did that. What? Yeah, I did it myself. Bye.
I accidentally screen capped it and sent it to everyone I know because I'm a Luddite.
I'm a dummy.
Clip.
You fucking asshole.
Yeah. But I mean, okay, right. Everybody likes sex. And if they don't like sex, then they have their own thing that they're into that is just as kinky and weird. That is the equivalent of those of us that do like sex, right? Sure.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own little deep, dark secrets and their own little things that they feel like they should be ashamed of. But I'm here to tell you, folks, as long as you've got those lines of everybody that is involved is consenting and an adult of sound mind, it's all good.
It's all good. No one should have any problems there.
Unless you're like really fantasizing about hurting someone against their will and or consent. And then, maybe you should talk to somebody about that and work through some of that.
Yeah, then you should probably find out what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, because there are plenty of people out there that will actually let you spank them, of their own free will. They'll get into it.
They want you to do it.
Right. There are some other people out there, too, that include, getting punched in the face with having sex. They're into that. You can find them, and it's a consenting thing that you guys agree upon at the start of it all. You have safe words for that sort of thing, and it's totally fine. And you know what? If you don't want to do any of that and you want to look at porn of people that are doing that or consenting, you don't have to feel bad about that either, no matter what anybody says. Let's stop fucking stigmatizing just being the loner dude who's masturbating, or the loner person, I should say, that's masturbating. Let's stop stigmatizing that as well. Everybody just fucking enjoy your fucking life and don't judge anybody else, and let's all just have a good fucking time.
All right, get off your porn soapbox.
But it's serious. Like, I just don't understand why everybody has such a fucking hang up over all of this shit. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I can't fathom it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's just, I think I don't know, man. People just like to be in other people's business.
Yeah, that's kind of what it boils down to, and it's really, really fucking sad because, like, we have...
They've turned being busybodies into a political career.
Yeah, like, we're so fucking... We live such a fucking short time on this planet. We get such little time to just really be happy and enjoy ourselves. And yet, so many of us waste so much time trying to suck what little joy most people have out of their lives. And I just can't fucking fathom it. It just perplexes me, dude, And it's a perfect story to do with this fucking movie because it all kind of works together with the hang-ups people have with sex.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's pull the ripcord on all of this shit. I'm going to play the Ending Legion promo, and when we come back, I'm going to have Tiger Army on the Pirate Radio edit with As the Cold Rain Falls right after this.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Helming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick Six Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, Two Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.
Jesus H. fucking Christ. What a downer of a fucking episode this has turned out to be.
Yeah. Well, it seems like that's probably going to be what this is going to be for the next few weeks of this first movie in this box set city indication.
Well, I will promise the folks out there that are interested that there will be some horse fucking eventually in this box set.
Because it's a thing.
Yes, it absolutely is, and I'm not hitting the fucking thing on that. I'm not. I'm just not going to do it. No, I'm not. I'm not going to click it.
But it's horse sex. Thank you.
For fuck's sakes. Okay, so show housekeeping. Let's just get this fucking episode over with. LegionPodcast.com/cinema-psyops-podcast. Discord chat. That's where you can get a hold of us. Instagram. That's where you get all the fucking memes. Those memes then get shared to the Facebook page, Cinema Psyops, then to the group on Facebook for the show, Cinema Psyops, all aptly named for the show, Cinema Psyops. I'm Court Psyops, so then it gets shared there to my main feed of my main fucking page on my profile. You can email me feedback if you don't know anything about what I'm talking about and or are confused about anything having to do with this show. Also, if you are someone who has no idea what was going on in this film, you are way too young to be listening to this show, and give your parents my email and apologize to them for me, please. cinemapsyopscourt@gmail.com.
Say hi to your mother for me, and then apologize to her for me.
There are no kids listening to this show. We're not cool enough for kids.
We are so not cool enough for kids.
While you're out there being way too cool for us, kick the fuck out of this weekend. Make it your bitch.
Yeah.
All right, start recording on your side.
Oh, yeah. Fuck me. All right. Anytime now. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. My Skype went black for a minute, and now I'm recording. 1, 2, 3. And we're good.
All right, everything looks good on your side?
Yep.
All right, you said 9 clips in total. Those are all loaded, and you did Whirlpool from the Raz box set?
That is correct.
All right, fuck it. Let's get this over with.
Fuck it, chuck it, football.
Sure. I'm going to play the opening theme and get high like usual, so here we go.
Awesome.
That's what I was getting at. I thought I was segueing for you, but you need it more ham-handed. Then let's start it.
All right. Holy shit. You calm down over there. You're getting crazy. Hold on. Let me have another sip of coffee so I can get on your level. Oh, that's brilliant. Fucking creepy little British shithead. All right. Anyway.
He's just creepy. Being British has nothing to do with it. It just doesn't help.
Well, you know what? Just trust me. The British are going to be fine if I make fun of them for a little bit, all right? They've had a lot of good years, okay? They can take a few digs.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll cautiously let you proceed.
Actually, I think that's the last British joke I have in this.
Well, maybe in my scenario, I'm Dexter and I'm hunting the hunters.
Maybe. Maybe it's like, what's...
I'm going to shut the fuck up.
They might be like, hey, what if I'm a psychopath? You're like, what are the chances we're both psychopaths?
Wow, a hitchhiker who only kills the people who pick him up gets picked up by a killer who only kills the people that he gives rides to.
This is going to be great.
All right,
there's a movie.
That's actually a TV show from Masters of Horror that Larry Cohen did. It's actually pretty good. But anyway, let's move on.
No, yeah, I know. I saw that one. That's why I was like, hey, that's a show. All right, so...
Nobody fucking outtakes, Jesus Christ.
I know, right? Holy fuck. We started late anyway. We got to get this tightened up.
We can move on.
We can move on. All right.
Did I just lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I was just seeing if you had anything to say. All right. So...
Oh, I apologize. I wasn't paying attention. So that'll just be an outtake. Whatever.
Okay. Like, what are you doing over there?
Honestly, I'm just injecting Schadenfreude straight into my fucking arm, just reviewing all the stuff that was going on in the house this last week and a half.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't blame you.
You caught me enjoying all that Schadenfreude.
Yeah. I'm like... right, so, I mean, hey, listen, shit happened. Oh, God. All right, fuck, now I'm lost. Let's see here. Fuck, man. All right. Okay,
While you're out there being way too cool for us, kick the fuck out of this weekend. Make it your bitch.
all right, and